This episode of the AnimeCons.com podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Right Stuff International.
Coming up on the show, we report from ConnectiCon. That guy returns to the podcast. We clean out our mailbag, and as always, we got the latest news and upcoming conventions. I'm Elizabeth, and this is the AnimeCons.com podcast for August 2010.
Here are the latest announcements from the anime conventions in the Northeast. Puffy Amiyumi will perform at the Far East Showcase as part of the New York Anime Festival and New York Comic Con. Minori Chihara has also been announced as a guest at the convention. Over in Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, Erie Anime Experience has announced guest animator Brad Patullo and voice actors Kyle Hebert, Richard Epgar, and Ellen Stern. ZenkaiCon has announced Todd Haberkorn has been added to their guest list. Moving over to Midwest news. ShutoCon has announced voice actor Tiffany Grant. Anime Spark has announced voice actor Chris Rager. MatsuriCon has announced Micah Solasad and Sonny Strait. And A&G Ohio has announced Team 4 Stars Crows and Little Currybow. In the South, through a partnership with MitsuCon, YasumiCon will present Yasui Light on Friday, August 20th. The event will take place at the same location as MitsuCon, the Hyatt Regency Miami. Anime Festival Orlando will celebrate its 11th year with Sonny Strait, Ruben Langdon, Dan Southworth, Jason David Frank, David Yost, Tony Oliver, and Tommy Yoon as guests of honor. The convention will be held August 6th to 8th, with August 5th only open to pre-registered attendees. Sugoye-con has announced a guest appearance by Shinichi Watanabe. Nabishin was director of series such as Excel Saga, Nirima Daikon Brothers, Tenshimyo GXP, and The Wallflower. Anime Weekend Atlanta has formally announced their current guest list, including Shinji Aramaki, and numerous voice actors, artists, and industry professionals. Ichiban-con has announced voice actors J. Michael Tatum and Todd Haberkorn. NekoCon has announced Chris Rager, Jan Gagne and Mary Gurin of Drow Tales, Somir and Lar of Looking for a Group, and artist Newton Yull. Anime USA has announced the following guests: 12,012, Echo Stream, Christina V, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, Brenna Palencia, and DJ Speed Demon. The AnimeCons.com crew will be on hand at Anime USA, so you can expect to see our report on the convention in our December episode. For more information on these announcements and all the latest updates, please visit our site, AnimeCons.com.
So a few weeks back, we went to ConnectiCon 2010 down in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah, it was my third time going.
I've been there every year since their second year, and this is one of their better years, and I think they were very happy with the turnout. They had over 7,000 people this year.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Still wasn't crowded though. They have a very open space in their convention center, so even though there's a lot of people, you don't feel like, you know, that you're bumping into anyone. It's easy to move around. Yeah, and ConnectiCon does things different than a lot of other conventions. They're not primarily an anime convention. They're more of a everything convention. Yeah, I feel like they focused a lot on they started focusing on the webcomic artists.
Right.
It's kind of where they got their start, but they've become somewhat of a multi-genre. Like their music video contest, you can enter things that aren't anime, like, you know, science fiction or Disney or Avatar, things like that. And then their masquerade, you can also enter costumes or something from any series.
Yeah, and they have a lot of gaming. That's one of their primary focuses. They have board games, every board game you can imagine.
Tons
really.
of things.
I don't know where they keep them all.
They have a whole row, like it's lined up against the wall with every board game since when you were a little kid to things that are a few generations back. We sat around and played categories all Sunday.
Yeah, you can think of it. I mean, everything from apples to Monopoly.
Yep.
They've got it.
They've got it.
Many editions of Monopoly. So.
Like the Red Sox edition, whatever you want.
And they also have the tabletop gaming. They've got the little miniatures.
Really long tables for that, too.
Yeah.
They go on.
There's some really impressive displays of little miniature castles, and those are cool.
Yeah, they're pretty neat.
And they've got the BAFA, they've got LARP, they've got role-playing games, card games, all sorts of stuff like that.
They also have a lot of performances. Like they had a dating game, which was hosted by the characters in Futurama.
Minions? I love minions. For breakfast. Oh, baby! Quick! Mount my havoc staff! Let us be away! Their masquerade, ConnectiCon Masquerade's a little bit different because instead of just having MCs, they actually do like a plot that the MCs are involved in. And so this year it was hosted by Watson and Sherlock Holmes.
Among others.
And there was a plot line that had Carmen Sandiego running through it, which appealed to us older people.
And but yeah, during the whole masquerade, they would between the skits, they would add in a little more of the story and introduce the next skit. And
it was hilarious.
Yeah. And they've also got Anime Scripted, which I hosted, and you were in.
Yep.
And on Sunday, their tradition is to do cosplay chess.
Yep, and they moved that along pretty well. I've been to a lot of cosplay chess matches, and they seem to drag on forever, and I'm like, oh, it's over. But they kept it going, and it was over really quickly, and it was exciting that way.
Yeah, and any convention event, you want to leave them wanting more.
Advance 1. Boba Fett, kill Medusa.
So, did you have a good time at ConnectiCon?
Actually, this is my favorite ConnectiCon I've been to. I've traditionally been bored at ConnectiCon, and this year I was entertained most of the time, and I had a really good time.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite years for ConnectiCon. I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely up there. But yeah, if you're in the Hartford, Connecticut area, if anywhere southern New England or New York, head on up to ConnectiCon and check it out next year.
Great time.
Here are some helpful tips on how you can avoid being that guy at conventions. When taking photographs of people you don't know, don't be sneaky. Ask for a photo and most people will be happy to pose and give you a better picture. definitely don't try to sneak photos of a girl's backside. Never ask people to pose inappropriately for you. If this happens to you, just say no. Avoid blocking hallways while you try to snap a picture. Instead, move so that your picture taking is parallel to the flow of traffic. Never touch people without asking first. If you ask first, you can avoid being that guy, and everyone will love you for it.
This month's episode is sponsored by The Right Stuff International, one of the best places to find manga and anime on the web. They have great deals. You can usually get free shipping once your order hits $50. And trust me, with their prices, $50 gets you a lot of great stuff. Just keep an eye on their weekly specials. You're always going to find stuff you want to add to your library. So to get a great deal on anime and support our podcast at the same time, visit trsi.animecons.com.
Me and my friends have purchased a table at the NY Anime Festival. This is my group's first con ever and my first running a table. I wanted to see if anybody had any ideas for what we should sell, or if you are a regular in Artist Alley, what do you find yourself buying or see people buying? We have decided to sell our manga, bookmarks, pins and buttons, and also stills and fan art. But I want to know what we should focus on. From Tehan, from our forums. Oh, thanks for the question. Generally, you pretty much have the usual stuff people sell in the Artist Alley. I'd probably focus on more supplies of your pins and buttons. Bookmarks really don't do too well. They do enough, but they're usually focused on the pins and buttons. And always make sure you have plenty of copies of your stills and fan art. That's what people usually buy in the Artist Alleys. It's because with fan art, they might not be a fan of your own personal stuff like your manga, but it pulls them in because they like the fan art you have of, let's say, like a One Piece character. And then you can push and peddle your own artwork. Generally what people love is seeing their favorite character done in other people's styles. I usually get the most compliments that way. So again, to recap, focus more on your pins and your buttons and your prints. And if you would like to throw a question our way, email us at podcast@animecons.com or leave us a voicemail at 762-ADEQUATE.
Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and join our forums at these links here. Get the latest episode as soon as it's out by subscribing in iTunes. And in next month's episode, we'll have a report from Otakon 2010.